360.tv.
Welcome to the South African Wild Dogs vs Catch 22 game at All Africa Champs. Today being day 3. I'm Dylan Sims and I'm joined by Jared North.
Yep.
As you can see, the Wild Dogs in the lot have been working on a pre-game
dance.
Thanks. Quite a
Tongue twister, that one.
Yes, yeah. I can't talk at all.
You can't even get the tongue twister part right. Yeah.
This is something that they've been working on for the last 3 or 4 months, to be honest, with all those steps.
This is getting their footwork prepped for the game, so that they can make some dirty cuts, embarrass the opposition.
So you can see a few people haven't quite been practicing. Further back in the line you go, the worse they get. If you look at someone probably about 8th in the left line, his name is Janku Hiers. No idea what he's doing.
He's struggling with that crossover step there in the middle.
Quite an exciting team, but still very friendly towards each other. The Wild Dogs have more cheers coming up, from what I know in the rest of this tournament. Quite a happy team. Definitely want to have the spirit going high into the rest of the tournament and carrying it through to Worlds.
This should be a good matchup. Both teams will be coming out firing. Both teams really want this win in the bag. So.
Right. I need to be louder.
She's got considerably louder. So Catch just coming off a loss against UCT, and the Wild Dogs coming off a win against the All African United team.
Catch representing their classic purple.
From what I've heard, Catch has only lost once in purple, so
the lucky color indeed.
Catch being purple and green, Wild Dogs being
sign of sexual tension, that color.
Well, let's hope it's not quite in this game.
Interesting point here as we hear the Wild Dog cheer. Little Diggy going for a fly there, yeah. Interesting point being Sandra, the head coach of the Wild Dogs, is actually a Catch player herself. Unfortunately picking up a knee injury in the first game of this tournament. She has elected to help out with her squad in preparation for their campaign.
So Catch starting with the pool. A decision that they quite often take as defense. They like to set a tone for the rest of the match. With the first break. Ooh, no. Sorry, I'm mistaken.
Oh, coming out on offense.
The cameraman with a little bit of trickery there, making us think that the wrong team is pulling. As we mentioned earlier, Janku Hiers with the disc. Hopefully his pulls are better than his footwork in the dance.
I have been known to be on the receiving end of that pull. It's quite vicious. Tends to come in very harsh, very deep in the end zone. So let's see if he can maintain his reputation with this first pull of the game.
Especially in this Joburg air, definitely goes further.
It keeps flying. It's tricky to keep these discs in with no resistance up at altitude.
Janku with a good first pull.
Big inside out.
Back of the end zone, Wild Dogs chasing it down. Darren Bright, the one that just came on screen. First to put on a mark. Throw goes into space.
Big swing to the sideline.
Tom
sending it.
Oh, Nick with a little trip.
No call. Clean play.
Decent flow from Tom there, going straight deep with some continuation.
He had a receiver open, but that Nick Anderson, he's got some legs on him. He made up the ground and Made it difficult.
Janku with the disc, looking break side. Hard mark,
Oh,
puts it
hits
up.
a big inside out.
Puts it very floaty, making chance for Tom to get that D.
Tom with a great box out there, making sure he had the space covered.
Janku probably not very happy with that throw, working on it for the last few months. Oh, Nick retaliates.
Nick on the end zone line. Got to catch a D's, boy.
You can see Nick was very excited for that. Callahan almost went for the layout
Almost went
goal.
for the second one, second attempt, yeah.
I think he should have, just for the fun of it.
Right, on the doorstep now. We get a chance to see what Wild Dogs will run for the end zone set.
Hanu out with Janku. Hanu activates straight away, goes up the line, easily beats his mark for the score. Wild Dogs are very excited with that one. Get their hold. No, get the break.
Break to start the game, yeah.
Wild Dogs calling for ladies.
Catch.
Quite a smart move with a big squad that they have at this tournament, just to rotate through both their men and their women. Seems like Wild Dogs have come out with their O-line.
Good to see some variation later in the tournament. I think some of the earlier games they were very, very strict to what lines were being called for offense and defense. And I know when we played them earlier on, they some of their stars weren't getting enough game time because they weren't on the right line. So it's good to see some rotation, see some of their offensive players coming out, playing hard defense. Every player on that team can play both offense and defense, so it's good to see.
Nick, being the captain of the team with Noodle, who's also on the line, must be very happy with that break being caused by his lovely D at the end zone. Paul with a big spin pull, very hard, going to the back of the end zone, fielded by Mitch. Back to Mitch in the middle of the field. Seems like they've come down with the zone.
Good zone look here with Sanelli up front.
Catch just taking their time so far, just swinging the disc.
Keep that cup moving.
Nick Salumis, one of the main players in catch with the disc. He can almost put the disc anywhere, but takes the easy option to Mitch. Mitch back to Tina. Tina puts it deep. Marcus is there. Nice cover defense though from Paul as well, just making Jamblet jump early. Swings to Ronja, our local German. Ronja back to Paul.
Dana coming off the front of the stack.
Oh, amazing grab
nice
from
grab.
Dana. Puts it through to Sanella.
Sanella's looking deep. He wants the big one.
Doesn't quite get it.
Looks
with the
like
big
he's
fakes.
reset. There we go. Oh,
Paul
Paul
with the fall.
slipping and almost catching it on the second attempt.
Nick fakes that. Good option to not take it straight away. Paul was quite ready for it. Man called, good communication from the Wild Dogs, just
Good
making
sideline
sure.
echo, yeah.
Goes
Big
up to
round from
Nick.
Jamblet to Nick. That's the good hold for the second point.
As we said, Nick being such a potent player, they're really going to have to make sure that they mark him properly.
He really can. He can be behind the disc. He can be downfield. And if he's got the person throwing to them, he's got the position.
Nick also one of those players that you can put the disc wherever you want and he'll probably bring it down.
We see Wild Dogs coming out on offense for this point.
With their TK line.
Mm.
Very interesting name given to them by Sylvan Morris.
TK standing for?
I don't believe that's appropriate for camera. Nate with the disc. Quite a big man he is with a very big arm. His backhand definitely going to the back corner of this one. However, the commentator's curse is probably a big part in this game.
We'll see, we'll see. Joining him on the line, we have Nick, Matt Dennis, Tom Gerhardt, Kate Wood, Marlies,
And Marion.
And Marion.
Big pull from Nate.
Is
As
it
expected.
too deep? Is it too deep?
Nick.
Matt brings it in.
Matt fields it, goes to Stewart. Once again, the youngest person on the team by only 8 days, younger than Lindell. Goes over the top to peer through with a nice grab. Nate not quite knowing if he should go for that one. She fakes, she goes infield. Sylvan swings to Matt.
Matt continue up the sideline. Looking infield now. Opts to go around again. Sylvan giving and going, not getting it back.
Sylvan clearing a lot of space, but no one quite taking it up. Big blade across the field.
He brings it in. Looks in the middle for Matt. Matt pumps it. Oh, calling a foul.
Uncontested. Great use of the hand signals without game advisors here.
Catch coming out with their zone of their own. Looks like 2 up front, 3 in the middle.
That's fakes just to move the zone. Matt really just being a decoy there. This goes back to Sylvan. Bubbles it, brings it down though. The Sylvan a player that when you shout something, he may do it. If you tell him to throw the hammer, he will throw it.
He's very, very susceptible to that peer pressure, that crowd influence. Oh, puts it just too far in front of Pietro. My apologies.
Pietro. It's the Afrikaans name.
Or as I like to call her, Petty.
Seems rude.
It's okay, it's an affectionate way. She understands.
A little bit lucky there from the Wild Dogs that there was some miscommunication.
Oh, a little bit of a tap there from Matt Dennis as the disc goes through Matt Morris. Matt swings it to Josh.
It's great, the two Matts marking each other.
Yep. Oh,
Scuba.
cheeky little scuba swing.
Almost seems unnecessary when the backhand is quite easy.
Nobody expects it.
Hannah with the disc. Swings it back to Matt. Matt goes across the field to Stewart.
Nice, opening up the space. They just need that continuation. Oh.
Unlucky there by Stewart.
Moving just a little too quickly.
Going a little bit behind him, making a very difficult catch. Two equal-sized men marking each other. Nick probably going to look for the break. Oh, but I was mistaken.
Hits the front cone.
Great cut by Marlies getting to the front cone, beating Lucio, who's very fast.
It almost seemed like she ran through a poach there as well. There was 2 players covering that open side front corner, and she just decided to go through them to get the score.
Marlies being a very experienced player in South African Ultimate.
Catch with the break there.
Both teams putting all their people on the field when it scores.
Very good to keep team morale up. Make sure everyone's on the same page. You got to make sure your 8th player is just as in tune with the game as all 7 on the field. Sideline being just as important as each person playing that point.
I would say very difficult to see who's on the field, though.
Does make it very tricky. It's true.
Let's go, dogs! Let's go, catch!
Nate again with the pull. Getting the practice swings before.
Making sure he's getting that wrist snap.
Very important to get the rotation,
yep,
you know.
Good snap on the disc.
Surprisingly, there is an upwind downwind here at this game today in Joburg. Not very often that it's windy. But this tournament has been a interestingly windy tournament.
Ooh. Scuba for the swing. Travel called. Good hand signals.
Was a nice jump there by Paul, really making sure that he gets big distance. Unfortunately, it worked against him when travel was called. But instead, he just takes the easy option this time instead of going for the scuba. Paul wanted to make more ground there. You could see it in him. He goes back to Dana. Dana with the big fakes.
Great to see Dana here after missing the first 2 days of this tournament due to flight issues.
She had an 18-hour layover getting from Cape Town to Joburg.
Which is only a 2-hour flight, so 18 hours extra is a real bummer.
Ooh, unlucky there by Noodle, just missing that one. Noodle being the other captain with an amazing scoop over the top just before this.
Slice that zone right open down the middle.
Nate with the disc. Ooh, looks off the big option. But with the inside flick that just goes over the top.
Caught just in.
Multiple
Sideline signaling in.
Multiple people were signaling that in. This goes to Michaela in the middle of the field. Noodle with big arms.
Oh!
Sanella climbs the ladder and just gets the disc over Nate. Sorry, Marcus climbs the ladder.
Yeah, nice to have a bit of height on that handler reset.
Nice cut by Paul, making sure he can get it. With almost no one with the continuation. Marcus to the sideline.
Oh, that
Puts it too
opportunity
far.
for the bookends right there.
It's a good option by Paul. Just put a bit too much on it.
Bit too much juice on that one.
He wanted to jam it in the jam hole. Sometimes that just doesn't work.
Marcus looking a bit beat up after that play. Happy to keep going there. These young people.
Back in my day.
Big swing. Right in front of Kenny. Oh, but Sanella with the play.
Seems like Kenny might be
Seems
calling
like
that one.
yeah. Bit of contact, bit too much contact for his liking. Fantastic to see Kenny back on the field after taking a bit of time off last year from a serious injury on his collarbone. He had, I believe, a metal plate put in. So as you can see on the back of his shirt, he's got the appropriately nicknamed Iron Man.
I believe he got that by landing on a rock on the field. Broke his collarbone right in half.
Retracted call, good discussion. Both seem to be happy with the result of that call. So nice to see some good spirit put into place early in the game.
Sanella, a very quick player. You can't throw anything too far for someone because he will probably reel it in.
Wild Dogs setting up their stack very deep towards the end zone, making anything deep a difficult option. But they get the front of the stack. Paul going, getting it back.
Good options not to throw it in there. Noodle activated. Noodle goes up the line. No one covering that one.
Beautiful hold.
Great throw by Paul, just leading Noodle into the space.
Those throws have been tricky this weekend. The short up the line for your handler making that strike cut. They just seem to either die or keep flying. So good to see Paul's made the adjustment and found the right angle for that disc and right spin, right power.
Fortunately for Paul, he lives here. So this is usual
True.
conditions
That
for
is
him.
true. And Noodle, she lives here too, so she knows exactly where that disc is going.
Wild Dogs calling 4 men for this line. A very strong D-line with Rubina, Darren Brad, Lindell, Deandra, Nick, Hanu, and Yanku. A very quick line that they put on.
Looking to see them run down this pool early and get the pressure on as
as you can see, the Wild Dogs have many, many cheers. All of them have been come up by Matthew Morris, the team cheerlead.
cheerleader himself.
Player coming from UCT, who themselves have a lot of cheers. A decent pull by Yanku, easily fielded by Nick. Molly's back to Nick.
Looking for the round. Not available as Hannah puts on a great mark. Stop anything going around him. As I say that, he lets the a round pass come off. But in flow, not much you can do about that.
Hanu just taking his time getting to each mark. Really not stressed about them, just swinging the disc.
Looks like that is the option for this zone at the moment. As
Nice.
they get a nice little one through the middle. Looking for...
Oh, sold Nick on that one, but he recovers quickly back in the middle. Oh, to his open space. Nick goes to Marion. Marion back to Nick.
Nick faking the hammer. Big swing to Tom. Tom on this near sideline. Looks down the line.
Seems like a man has been called. Nick picks up Kate. Kate going upfield. Yanku's running it down. Yanku gets big.
Oh.
A huge D, but a foul called.
As we see, the discussion seems to be resolved. No contest on that foul. Just a bit of contact as he came through. He did his best, but unfortunately there was a bit of contact on the trailing edge. So timeout called by Matt Dennis on the end zone line. Every good commentator has to bring up the statistics of calling a timeout on the attacking end zone line, and how I believe it's 70% of them around there result in turnovers.
I tell my team 80% to get
80% is keep them motivated. Yeah, you know, the other great stat that every commentator has to come through with is 65% of all statistics are made up on the spot.
I would agree with that one. It was great work from Yanku to just reel that in, but unfortunately right at the end just nicking Matt.
Yeah, great spirit there to not contest the call after the brief discussion, making sure everything is on point. As I will hand over now to the infamous Darren Curry.
Darren, welcome to the commentary booth.
Yes, thanks Dylan, and thanks to Jazzy for doing a stellar
Kind of wish we had a
opening
booth.
job.
Right now we just stand in the cold, in the Joburg cold.
Very open, very exposed.
Our cameraman complains to us every day.
Ah, no, I like him. He can stay. Yes, timeout called here by Catch.
It's interesting to see both team sizes. The team size of 20 for Catch and 23 for the Wild Dogs. It really shows that they're almost equal.
Yeah, no, I think we were all silently hoping that Catch could put out 22. But unfortunately, we can't have it all our way. But yes, again, a very good way of showing how much the sport has grown over recent years. In South Africa especially.
So Catch has the disc on the corner. I assume their goal would be to attack the front cone. But if not, the dumb swing. Catch is a team that enjoy playing a diagonal stack. See if that can work for them.
Now, again, a very effective way from the sideline play, making that stacked diagonal, giving options of the long put all the way around, or even still a handler cut up line. Nixa Loomis is currently in that dangerous handler spot.
It's Nick versus Nick. Quite a competition there. Both are very speedy people.
Yes.
Nick looks very excited to get the disc. Makes me think it's going there.
Which Nick? Both Nicks.
Wild Dogs communicating who's marking who. They've done a great job of setting up both sides.
Nick cuts up line. Oh, and falls. Disc ends up at Tom Gearhart. There's a call.
Foul called. Don't quite know on who right now.
We can say it was a Nick.
It seems like Nick on offense called a foul on the Nick on defense. Perhaps we should give them different names for this game.
Okay, call seems to be resolved, and Tom Giat keeps the disc in the middle of the field.
Yanku just taking that little poach.
Fakes hard.
Tom takes that reset.
Matt Dennis almost goes round.
Yanku putting on a
Damn.
great mark.
This ends up in Marianne at the top of end zone for the score. Catch. Take this point. 3-2 to them.
Marianne really making it known that she was open in that corner. Unfortunately, Rubina still not closing in that gap.
As we look again, a lovely low-released flick by Matt Dennis.
Matt Dennis, a man known for a very good flick. Able to put that almost anywhere in the field.
Very active on the disc he is. Cape Townian squirrel. Have a look at the catch line. They seem to be with 4 ladies matching the Wild Dogs. Wild Dogs using the 4-lady tactic quite a bit now that they have their full lady line on at this tournament. Been very effective for them. The Dunef in the background, you can hear the wild card cheer for this TK line, they call it. Not quite O, not quite D.
This line sporting the Spirit captain, Sylvan Morris. A man that enjoys leading a line. A man that moved from a cutter position to a hander position. As you can see on the corner of the screen, a dog is on the way to the field again.
We're looking forward to an equipment call, perhaps. A technical, excuse me. As the dog quietly trots itself by Stuart Rankin. Unfortunately, drops a very decent attempt at layout there in the midfield. Catch, turn it.
Pietri marking Tina. Nick going out, back under. Throw goes to him. Kenny cutting up the line. Not quite getting the continuation he wants to the break throw. A little bit, a few extra steps there.
Paul Kennedy
Gets the
puts
throw up.
on high.
Hannah gets the D. What a unfortunate foul call.
Looked like quite a good contest between the ladies there, but a foul looks like it has been called.
Retracted.
And retracted. Mild discussion still continues between the two teams, more than just those involved.
It seems like it was not retracted, but rather uncontested. Disc going to the front of the end zone, with Nikki Lloyd having it.
She'll come in with still kind of 0 as the catch probably looking to go to some sort of end zone structure soon.
Sylvan picking up Nick. Pietru with the D.
Great run through there by
Pietru picks up the dick just straight away. Not always the best option, as everyone is still behind you. Sylvan throws over the top. Natasha gets the little nick off.
Cleans up really well there. Josh Stein looks deep, finds Stuart Rankin running. He's ahead of Nate, but this disc just slips right past.
Someone say that that was not a Joburg throw, but rather a Cape Town throw. That would have set up for him.
Perhaps that extra bit of breakfast this morning giving more strength than he would have liked there, as catch start early with cuts.
Catch with multiple cuts going quite early.
Nath,
Sylvan calling that foul. Seems like Nick had to go through him to get to that space.
Nathan Besaidenote stays on the disc for the moment as the call. It's
Uncontested.
Uncontested.
Feel like we may need to get our rules checked again.
Probably none of us read the rule book at night then. Kenny on this line.
Puts the disc up. Marianne Trying to get to that, unfortunately, just far too much blade. Going to the wrong side of the field. Sylvan taking his time, getting to that disc, instructing his line on what to do.
Looks like a bit of a Mexican going on here. Rotated Mexican, 3-2-3, 2-3-2 structure. Natasha gets and goes long. Pietro van Eck from the middle space.
A nice little throw from Sylvan to that space.
Good cuts by the ladies on the line there. Hannah finds Pietro, swings it right to Stuart Rankin.
Stuart considered putting it deep, but
Sylvan
everyone covering. Sylvan puts it up. Pietro with a great grab under pressure.
really
To
taking
Stuart,
some
many great grabs this point.
Pretty much so, not just from the guys, which is great to see.
Sylvan quite. Sylvan asking questions about that one, but seems to go back to the thrower.
Very expressively. Call still continues, I think, just cleaning up the necessary admin. The disc is back in place.
Stuart with the disc again, going over the top. Felicia, can
Lots
she
of
keep it
space
in
for
bound?
her. Oh,
Always a difficult one when the line is just right there. Do you concentrate on the disc, on the line?
especially looking into the sun there as well.
Felicia with a great cut. Unfortunately, just losing that at the end.
Yeah, she had a lot of space. Not a lot of time, though. That 8th defender, so-called back of the end zone. Paul Kennedy on the disc.
Kenny takes the easy option, goes to Tina. Tina fakes up, goes big. Nick with a great run.
Nick Salomas putting on his whole face as he clasps that in.
Easily gets that disc. But Sylvan making sure that there's no next throw.
No, and on the mark though, as this still hasn't been counted. Nick Salomas fakes up line, still on the disc as the still count begins. Sylvan doing a good job of preventing a throw coming off the hammer, goes off though. And Nikki with a
Ridiculously out for a hammer catch. Sylvan seems to have made the right decision by falling off there. Still putting Nick under a lot of pressure to get that grab.
Let's have another look here. Oh, it's a textbookly put hammer as a brave layout from Nikki.
That one seems to have
Gets
hurt a little bit. Landing on your knees first is always quite sore.
Especially on this barren wasteland almost, it seems at times. No, but after 3 days of tournaments anyway, I think the grass seems to take its toll.
I believe on day one the field looks exactly the same. I don't think we've lost any grass. We may have lost some dirt.
And some skin.
But it's fun since the dirt would have washed off by now.
Looks like the O-line's coming on for the Wild Dogs. Catch have made a change in gender calls, so they've got 4 guys on.
Catch being one breakup in this game so far.
Tom Gerhardt on the disc. I think he put this one deep as possible. As it's up.
Tom putting it very high up.
A lot of I.O. coming back into midfield. Paul Nassi Fields. Horizontal set up for the Wild Dogs as Catch come out of the zone again. Marietta Goosen puts a delicate little scuba over the top to Sanela Mazimela.
Very interesting scuba. It sat more than most throws have today. Ronnie with a big fake upfield. She used to be a disc golf player with the over the top a bit too far, a bit too confident with that hammer.
But ambitious there. Let's see what the O-line can do in D for the Wild Dogs. Tom Gerhardt picking up, looks quickly, 2 cuts off the front. Matt Dennis is just out of reach of the disc.
That would have been an amazing grab, but a chest-high layout would have been required. Again, on this ground, Not quite advisable today. Matt Morris with the disc again, sporting his new Eric hat.
Yes, just got in.
Putting it up high. For the Callahan, it seems, by Marlies.
Callahan indeed.
Matt quite disappointed with that throw. Trying to go over the top, putting a bit too much on it. And Marlies just reining it in.
Yeah, Wild Dogs perhaps trying a bit one too many loopy over the top swings as was a potentially awkward collision just shrugged off between the two ladies involved there. Catch pulling away a little bit, yeah, 5-2 lead. It's about half an hour just passed on the clock.
Wild Dogs really just got to pull it in together again. They've started to make some silly mistakes compared to the beginning of this game.
Yeah, and looks from our point of view that they're putting on a bit of the wild card line, a line that has brought them a bit of joy in dire situations. Let's see what they can do this time.
Once again, Nate with the disc. Always seems to go for those practice spins before he throws.
Someone very much on the verge of being ambidextrous as well. As there's some indeed very much trickery going on pre-pull with the disc. Looks like everyone's ready though. Disc coming up. Lift off.
Decent sit, but not quite enough distance. Not quite what he would have wanted.
Josh Stainfields.
Josh gets that to Licia.
Licia is taking her time, finds a good forward momentum to Deandra Beerling.
Oh my
who
word,
puts one
Deandra
deep.
putting it hugely deep, but unfortunately going out the field.
Just not enough OI on that. Just slides out the left-hand side of this field for the Wild Dogs. Still looking for that bit of momentum just to push them forward in this game. Still trailing 5-2 as previously mentioned.
Once again, Catch comes out with their diagonal stack.
Pushing it a bit further forward, perhaps giving some more handler space here for Nate, who's in that power position. Tina Schubert on the disc.
Sylvan setting up behind.
Tom Geard goes deep, well marked by Josh Stain.
Nice put by Tina into space. Disc goes back to Tom. Tom with no fakes right now, just standing, puts it over the top.
Up Stewart there. Finds Nate. Nate, ooh, bit of a 50-50 almost there. Tom clasps it in. He looks deep for Marianne. Marianne and Licia Hollis.
Two very equal speed athletes.
Very good matchup there, I think, from both teams.
Licia just making sure that even with that bad pass-ish, that Marianne could not bring it down. Not quite what Tom would have wanted.
Yeah, another example just of something sliding out. Second one on this point.
Licia with a nice cut. Just opening that space for Hannah. Hannah gets it, just puts it.
Sylvan's looking deep. He puts one. It's a bit blady and not quite that deep as he wanted it. Licia just unfortunately can't hold on to that.
I don't believe that disc was for Licia, but she did a great job to just take it down. Disc goes up.
With a very airy flick there. Josh Stain with a good competition in the air to win that.
Josh throwing a very interesting throw to get it back, but Sylvan just not able to keep it down.
A lot of turns going on in this point.
Sylvan taking his time, making sure nothing go upfield.
Good grab by Michaela Wexler on the right-hand sideline. Joe centers to Tom.
Tom with the fake, not quite wanting to put it deep.
Low
Little air
release.
bounce.
Wonderful there. Mariana, the flick to the far right-hand corner. Doesn't quite come off.
Marianne with a hair flick, signaling that she's not happy with that one.
A lot of sass in that one, I think. as the Wild Dogs seem to adopt their version of a diagonal stack on the sideline. Diandras begins the cut, going long. But too early for everyone's liking though. Stuart Rankin off the back as well.
Nice cut up the line by Sylvan.
He's looked off though as Pietro van Eck collects at the back. Spreads it right to Anna Smith. Anna, nice undercut from Lycia. Good effort by Sylvan, just not quite enough as he looks like he's injured himself.
Sylvan working hard to get that disc, really showing his passion to keep this line from turning the disc.
Putting the spirit in Spirit Captain there.
Yanku coming on the field to replace him. Yanku hoping to change the turnovers that this line has caused a bit. Now marking Joe. Stewart still on Nate. Nate takes the easy throw to
Tom, that is.
But to no one. Gets the disc to Deandra. Deandra throws this.
Another good grab in the air by Josh there. Looks up line for Deandra. Deandra Bieling centers the disc slightly to Stuart Rankin.
Hunter waiting for the activation. Doesn't come to him. Goes across to Lycia.
Oh, good low release.
Very unfortunate drop once again.
Very elegant low release there from Stuart Rankin. Just unfortunately. Perhaps the legs from this point slightly tiring the hands as well. The brain.
Teen with the disc again. Joe going deep, not quite committing to that cut.
There's a backhand force on as Tom also looks up line with that backhand.
Teen with a nice read to get that. Tina looking to go up line. T100 just completely outpaces Michaela from catch. Yanku also there to help out. Brilliant. If she didn't get that disc.
Brilliant work from the Wild Dogs. Defense there, great pace exhibited. Hunting in a pack.
Yanku's got the disc.
Looks up line, it's big. Stuart Rankin.
Really sits for him, just out of reach. Those few seconds when he was trying to find the disc made him lose that speed.
Second time, I think, just unfortunately that lack of air, just pushing this disc slightly out of reach for Stuart. There's another injuries call, this time from catch.
Seems like Michaela not able to walk off the field. Many catch players coming on to make sure that she's fine.
Good exhibition of team love there.
Kate coming on in Michaela's place.
Sporting a good, green, noticeable headband, I would say. It's not like I don't see it.
I mean, I wouldn't call it green, but...
Oh, let's not have this discussion over the internet again, shall we?
More like a bluish. Kind of in the middle, maybe some grey there as well.
Can we at least confirm that it's not gold?
No, not gold.
Okay.
Not purple either.
Sort of the same. We're in the same book. Maybe not the same page, same book though. Nate picks the disc up. Stuart doing a good job not to get broken there.
Disc goes up, gives...
Yanko climbs that wall as he picks the disc up again, finds Josh with a short pass. Josh to Stu, who gets his goal he's been hungry for. Wild Dogs get a point back, a long one that was.
Yanku, a very good addition to add to that line, really just climbing that ladder, going completely over Joe.
Good respect to personal space there as well, keeping it very clean, Yanku Yese.
Yanku a little bit upset, obviously, after that last one, where he nicked Matt right at the end, making him not able to catch it.
Making up for it there on that point.
Once again, Wild Dogs D-line coming out.
Nick Anderson, the leader of this D-line, the leader of this team. As Yanku has the disc in his hand.
Also one of those really into your disc spinning, obviously. any direction.
Wonder if they'll come out zone on this one. Try contain, catch even more. Look like this point can maybe just spark them into some action, spark a comeback of some sorts.
40 minutes in. They don't have much time until forced cap.
Really want to make as much of this before halftime as possible.
Janku showing readiness going forward.
As he pulls. Slides out to the right, but still in field. Marlies Richterfield to Kate Wood.
Seems like there was some miscommunication.
Great low grab by Matt Dennis there. As he looks back for the dump option, eventually finds it in Marlies. Another good grab low, this time by Kate Wood. She looks deep. John Ambler, it's just a bit much there for them for catch.
Once again, but too much porridge this morning for her.
No, Cape Town throws, as you said earlier.
I think in
Too
Cape Town,
much for Joburg, yeah.
I think in Cape Town that still would have been a bit too far.
Maybe faster cuts with the more air in their lungs, but we're not there, we are here.
Nice throw by Hanu to Nick. Nick with the fakes. Nick looking at Janku. Janku bursting up line. Unfortunately not able to get it.
Very active handless movement there as Hanu collects from the front of stack.
But a pick call downfield.
By Nikki on Lindell, Foss Price, I believe. All abnormalities waved off as Janku cuts up line. Hanu puts it back.
Janku with a little cut back.
7 cut there.
Potentially wanted to put that deep, but didn't. Janku again goes up the line, gets the disc.
From Sanele.
DeAndre cutting to the open side, not getting it, puts it over the top. Easy grab for Nick.
As the Wild Dogs D-line does a good job. Pulls them closer just before halftime. Still about 2 minutes to go. 5 to catch, 4 to the Wild Dogs.
Looking at Nick before that, he really just had expectations that Janku could just put it wherever he wanted and just waited for the disc.
Yes, a good exhibition of team chemistry, knowing what players have what tendencies and just backing themselves. Team spirit has seriously grown this weekend for the Wild Dogs.
Seems like the D-line is staying on. Obviously, Wild Dogs has a huge priority in getting this point before the half. Only 1 minute left.
Yes, it looks like cap would be called in this point. So they'll be extra hungry. Again, adopting a 4-lady line, the Wild Dogs. Pretty much used every time they end up on the gender end zone. Janku pulls off to the left-hand side of the end zone, shows his readiness as he pulls.
Oh, Janku putting it very high. Going across the field, but staying in. Huge blade. Well fielded by Nate. Seems like it's a zone.
Tom Gerhardt goes over the top with the score while collected by Nick Salumas. As
Nick with all the fakes takes the easy dump eventually.
high road and the low road.
Oh, Nick.
Tina finds Nikki.
Mariano with the disc. Mariano with the fakes. Goes back to Tina. Oh, Hanu almost getting that disc.
Very close, that hand just swiping.
Fire called, and as you can hear, there's the
Half cap horn.
puts it up. Nick with the great read. It almost looked like he set a pivot there. but he continued to walk forward.
Very close there from Nick, but good respect from the rules. Good, well acknowledged by Catch as well.
Just
Not
takes that
complaining
easy
too much.
swing, throws it up. Wind really grabbing that one.
Yeah, it seems to have picked up recently. I don't know if you can hear in our mics. But Nick and Yanku throwing some 1-2s to each other.
Goes across to Natasha. Natasha with a great grab. Unfortunately, just throwing it straight to Tom.
As Waldok's turn, Hanu has not picked Tom up. Tina looks up the line to Tom. Finds him in the end zone.
Hanu not happy with that one. Unfortunately, that's what happens when you turn and you don't turn on the jets for defense. Instead, just take your time a little bit. Very, very cold wind blowing past us in our...
Lack of a booth.
But that seems to be half. So we will see you later.
Alti.tv Spotty.tv.
And we're back for the second half. Wild Dogs 4, Catch 22-6. As confusing as that might sound. Yes, Wild Dogs trailing by 2, looking to pull themselves back. With another strong second half performance. Their previous game, they did show that they are a bit of a second half team, really finding momentum and keeping it going as long as possible. What do you think Catch can do in this one, Dylan?
Sorry about being so quiet. I had to run over here and I'm not used to running. Woo! I'm out of breath. Catch is definitely going to be looking to just keep their momentum that they picked up in the first half. With the Wild Dogs letting a few easy drops go their way and Catch just capitalizing on it.
Yeah, no, very efficient work from them in the first half.
But Wild Dogs starting at 0, giving them a chance to straight away get their foot in the door. The wind really causing chaos out on the field in all the other matches right now.
Yeah, this one I think we're facing with a bit of a less of a crosswind here, I think, with the field layout. As Paul Nassi is on the disc for the Wild Dogs, a zone as expected coming out for Catch with these slightly windier conditions.
Paul with a not very good scuba over the top, but well collected by Matt Morris, and Ronyo just throwing it a little bit behind Paul. Not able to jump into that one.
Wild Dogs coming out a bit flustered, I think. The blustery winds. Kate Wood on the disc.
Kate just taking her time to pick that one up.
2 cuts again coming from the front of stack from Catch. As
Going
the disc
up.
goes over, Nick Zaluma, Sanele collects well.
Very well double covered. Dana with the disc. Nice catch out of ankles. With all the fakes, goes to Matt. Matt gets it a scuba over the top to Marcus.
Very ambitious here from the Wild Dogs as they seem to get a little space upfield. Paul Nassi on the disc.
Paul looking off Marcus.
Looking for some calm again on O. Dump to Matt Morris. Swings it right to Dana Glennie, her first day at this tournament.
Dana with a big swing across. Back to Paul in the middle. Paul really directing traffic with everything that's happening.
Correct. A lot of this O going straight through him as he dumps long to Sanele Mazimela and receives it again upfield.
I wouldn't quite say he studied that, but Marcus with a
Very unfortunate there from Marcus.
little drop. Try to catch it off of Nate's chest, but couldn't get that right. Never quite seen that in Ultimate before.
Yes, the grizzly beard of Nate Poseidon probably coming in to good use there. As Marcus again suffers a little lack of joy in that corner, as he's very active on Nate on the mark there.
Kate with a nice cut getting that disc, faking upfield.
Big one, but puts it
still
again.
putting it. Ronja with a little bit of a misread.
Oh,
Marianne also with the same misread. Very upset about that one.
as the zone sets around her, Marianne picks herself up, literally, hopefully, figuratively as well after that.
Paul again with the disc.
Seem to be the main handler on this O-line. Matt Morris on the sideline, centers again to Paul.
Paul just really taking control, throws it through the middle. Every single catch player getting involved in that one.
No one on the mark this time though, as Matt Morris crashes well through the cup. Dana Glennie receives in a left-hand side position. Paul Nassi again, getting every second pass here for the Wild Dogs.
Goes across to Paul again, back to the middle with Matt. Matt goes to Sanele. Sanele just taking his time, holding them back, goes back to Paul. Paul with the fakes.
Good small burst of 1-2 passes here for the Wild Dogs.
Goes across to Ronja, Ron with the fakes.
Paul
Back to
again
Paul.
in midfield. Look to go over the top again. Goes round to Ronja as Cats seem to gain some ground from Wild Dogs.
Matt has the disc. Also just telling people where they want to go.
Sanele,
Puts it up, Ronja with a nice one-handed catch.
nice crash from the back there.
Ronja with a bit of wobble on that throw. Paul with a push pass to Matt. Matt
Lovely
through.
string of passes there from the Wild Dogs. Dana Glennie goes over the top.
A little bit ambitious.
Rebecca Potterton can't quite reel that in. A good spell of play from the Wild Dogs there.
Very well covered by Kate, as she wasn't the deep. Really just making sure that Nate's back is always covered. But Nick with the disc now, being marked by Matt.
As this disc is slowly walked up to the line. And it's in. Cuts off the front again from catch. Matt Dennis goes deep.
The disc going straight up.
Well reeled in by Matt Dennis as he looks up line to Marianne. Can she make up for her previous mistake?
Goes up, brings it down over Ronja.
Brilliant grab there from Marianne Breitenbach.
Very well brought down by Matt. Making sure to keep that in. I think Sanele may have thought that was out and he stopped going for it.
As we get another look at this. Disc hung up for quite a while. Ronja always on the back foot behind Marianne there, who claimed position really well and took a great grab in there. Good effort though by the Wild Dog. Just not quite enough. Catch, take the first point of the second half. 7-4 against the Wild Dogs.
Point that the Wild Dogs really would have wanted. Definitely don't want to start your half with the break.
Yeah, from their side, looks like the wild card line is on again, trying to pull some momentum back in their favor. Looks like they are again using their 4 ladies, so Catch have to match them. Last bit of admin on the line call going on. Catch's side as the field is clearing, ready for the pull.
This being the first time that Wild Dogs are wearing their new shorts at this tournament.
Yes, it seems to get better every day for them. But a new stuff.
It being a very attractive sportswear that they have. Sylvan deciding not to field that pull with quite a blade on it. Goes across the field.
Not a very good swing, unfortunately, from Sylvan Morris, as the disc is turfed about 10 meters from their defending end zone. Tina Schubert on the disc. Not many cuts coming off Tom. Gerhardt comes back far to get it. Looks up line.
Sylvan very upset with himself in that one. Not quite set when he threw it. Had his foot in the air, just didn't get the rotation that he wanted.
Nah, perhaps the small gusts again coming into play. Just
Oh, something
Slightly
seems
affecting
to have
throw.
happened, and it was not a score.
well, we are a little bit stunned into shock here. Catcher zoning. Wild Dogs on the offense. Josh Stain swings on wide to Sylvan Morris, who is
Sylvan reeling that one in with a
fuming
going
to
over.
make up for his previous error. It's unfortunately dropped in the cup there by Josh Stain. Not quite sure what that cause. Do you see anything, Dylan?
Seems like it fell out of her hands and hit the floor.
From our eyes from the sky there, giving us some inside intel. Tina Schubert goes with a high release backhand back to Paul Kennedy. Kenny puts one
Going up over two with Kate reeling it in.
Travel call though.
Sylvan with a very apt response to being asked why he called a travel. His response being, because you traveled. Seems to be what the rules say. Kenny accepts it once Sylvan explains.
This goes back to where it was. As everyone tries to find out where they were at that point. Travel, of course, can be called by anyone on the field. Very far out Sylvan Morris was there. But nonetheless, we continue. Bigger round on there. John Ambler collects well at his ankles.
Seems to be a common occurrence this game. Ankle biters, very well picked up by people going up line. Kenny with the grab, big fakes. He wants to go for that swing, directing traffic, throws it across the field.
It's a big flick as, oh, Nikki Lloyd gets a disc in hand, but it might have hit the ground first. Another big layout from her as we watch this big swing across field from Kenny. First
Good.
attempt just missed, and
Seems like the bird eye view says that is down.
see what the on-field call is.
Is there such a thing as commentator's perspective?
Well, if there isn't, we could claim something. And
Seems to not be a score, but Nikki has caught an injury with a great layout to try save that one.
very unfortunate, but she is clapped off very sportingly from both sides.
Nikki really putting her body on the line, that being her second layout this game. Only just missing this one.
Fingertips.
With the rule being if it hits a single blade of grass, it being a turn. Being an interesting rule since there's lots of grass flying around since it's not easily kept on the ground.
Wow, Sylvan Morris shrugs off half a zone there with that fake. As the Wild Dogs still struggling to get that momentum back. Turn it on their end zone. John Ambler on the disc. He fakes large and puts one across field to Paul Kennedy for the score.
This time the cross field is connected and called a score. Pietru with a very good attempt to get that disc. Putting her body down on the ground, just not catching it. Great throw leading Kenny into space, right where he wanted it.
Yeah, so eventually on the third attempt of throws into the end zone, the catchies get their deserved point after some good hard zone defense.
The Dogs are really getting a lot of opportunities this game. They really just got to put some to bed. Catch is putting a lot of pressure on it, but the hope is that they'll be able to withstand that and just work it through nice and slow.
Catch calling the gender this time.
Seems to be 4 men.
Tom Gay out with the disc in his hand. Not much rotation going on with it at the moment.
Interestingly enough, Niels Lazarus is on the field.
Yes.
As said yesterday, he is not a person that often plays on the D-line. Obviously, he feels that his talent is needed. Him normally being an offensive line player.
A big Spurs fan, I'm told, in these parts.
Unfortunately, we don't speak about football here.
Unless we're speaking about not speaking about it. Paul Nassi receives the disc in the midfield.
2 people making a cut to the same position, making it really difficult to get it to either. Noodle dancing around the field, it's just going up. Paul really being under a lot of pressure.
No love reciprocated by his cutters there, as Marlies Richter fields for catch.
Marlies fakes off the first open pass, goes to Neil. Obviously Neil knew something before this point, since he's now playing offense. This goes up.
Paul catches one.
Paul throwing it to Noodle, just going over her head. You can see her frustration at nicking her fingers.
Yes, Noodle obviously the O-line captain, wanting her boys and girls just to reel it in, get that momentum back. Want this O-line to have a bit more success than they've had this game.
Dana bids for the disc, just doesn't get it. Marianne using her heart.
Tom Geard on disc. Swings to Matt Dennis. Swings again to Marianne. A lot of catchies in the same space though.
Marianne, Neil, anyone. People could have left it for each other. Nasty Basanele.
Yes, put on an exhibition with his leaping height as Sanele thus far this game.
Diagonal stack again. Snella at the back, Snella going deep. Paul looking him off. Noodle making an up the line cut.
Very
Great cut.
there.
Michaela very far behind her, gets the disc to Rebecca. Dana resetting that stack, making sure that everyone is there. Once again,
with
cutting up
another
the line.
good cut up line.
Marcus goes deep, also looked off.
Very similar plays in this game coming off. Dana Glennie fakes large, but Paul Nassi runs across the field. Paul's still very involved in his O-line point.
Paul being a little bit disappointed that there was nothing upfield, no one's coming back. Paul being put under pressure.
Good
Goes
recovery
to
there.
Snella with the fakes, goes to Marcus.
Oh, can't quite reel it in. Marcus.
Marcus really having a bad time at this side of the field. It being only this quarter.
Clearly not his right side.
Michaela with a great grab over her head. Goes back to Marlies.
Brings it there, yes, indeed. Marlies looking back for Matt Dennis. Matt Dennis on the disc as he puts a laser to laser. Who finds Marianne.
Marianne getting much more involved in this half.
Looking to break the mark there, but Dana Glennie gets big and forces that turnover.
Once again, Michaela is just feeling her ankle and she's walking off the field. Her having some physio treatment earlier, but just not able to finish this game. Dana getting a very impressive hand block. Her knowing that it's much easier for your arms to move up or rather than down. So keeping them low and always lifting up.
Seems like she's done some investigation into the human anatomy to assist on defense there. Timeout's called. Still only the third point after half, as we are about 8 minutes away from the enforced cap.
Wild Dog's going to have to do something different to start scoring many points in a row.
Catch, perhaps a few, quite a large number of games into this tournament, perhaps thinking about just running the clock out, reeling some winning.
These microphones are quite difficult to get right. We've been told that we can stick them in our mouths if we have to. Not the most hygienic things.
Well, one of us has been told that.
Wild Dogs just using this timeout to get their heads back in the game.
The cheer goes off for the O-line, really trying to spur them on.
They're probably going to be looking to score quickly off this one. Maybe a play from the front of stack, maybe the play from the back.
Yes, one of the more ambitious throwers, I think, on this O-line in Paul should be on the disc. Very keen to put it deep. Got some aerial threat in Matt Morris and Sanele Mazimela at the back of the stack.
Dana Glennie setting the stack again. Taking after a brother who was in this campaign 4 years ago.
Yes, the previously mentioned very successful Wild Dogs campaign that was in 2015 from South Africa.
Matt with a nice double cut. Doesn't get the disc. Throws it across to Paul instead. Paul with the fakes.
Marcus comes under from the back of stack, and he's almost found by Paul, but Matt Dennis does some great work on D to get under him there.
I don't think Marcus was noticed early enough to go for that throw. Perhaps he should have just been looked off.
Yeah, high stall count's quite a trend of these vert stack plays from the Wild Dogs, really forcing some unconventional throws. Marlie's now on the disc as Rebecca Potterton seeks to hold her force.
Wild Dogs are really putting catch under pressure right now. They really want this point.
Yes, the pack is certainly hungry as Noodle Goosen is ready to center to Paul, who cuts up line. It is centered though. Marcus finds some joy in the midfield.
Marcus with the easy catch, activating Noodle. Noodle the cut, not quite able to get that rage
She's
cut.
looked off. It's a good, strong cut from Sanele as he puts a low release down this right-hand side. Paul Nassi with a layout can't. Again, just can't reel those 50-50s in, I guess.
Very nice layout, only just falling out of his hand. Catch resorting to unconventional cuts to get the disc moving. The disc going up, Marianne climbs the ladder, takes it down. Dana ready to put on a mark. Tommy getting the disc, him putting it deep with a lot of shape, not quite what he would have wanted.
Paul Nassi does well to clean that up though.
Paul to Matt.
Matt Morris with a lovely look upfield, gains a lot of ground to Sanele there. Sanele looks upfield but activates Paul eventually. Paul with time and space and time. As he activates Matt Morris.
Takes the swing option.
Very deep stack set by the Wild Dogs. I don't know how intentional that is. Matt Morris looks up line to Tina Schubert. Tina swings back to Tom Gerhardt.
Tom with the disc, rocking back and forth, just getting ready for that throw. Obviously wants the flick. There's the high release backhand to Marlies.
Force looks like it's changed the other sideline as Tina's on it. Very good mark movement by Tina. Totally sold Noodle in that one as the fabled Neil Lazarus collects on the back of the end zone.
Good to see how hungry Matt was to get that disc, but a little bit disappointed that he didn't.
Catch with their 3rd point this half.
I believe so. I believe Wild Dogs haven't scored yet. They have gotten very close many times, but just not able to put it to bed.
As we are now about 3 minutes away from this enforced soft cap, as it's called.
The TK line coming back on with a few extra recruits, having Yanku, Mauro and Paul joining them.
Perhaps they'll look to strengthen this lineup, but they're not quite in their groove the second half, as previously mentioned. Very strong they were in their last showing on this field in the second half to claw back, just draw the game out against UCT despite their loss. Catch though, seemingly running away with this one a little bit.
Wild Dogs again, just with a few unforced errors that Catchers got lucky getting. Catchers taking advantage of them. Unfortunately, if you give a team 7 to 8 tries to score, they will eventually.
Very true.
Wild Dogs putting on some great defense though. Catch now with the disc up. Nate with a big pull. Paul choosing to field that one, not let it go out.
Centers it to Yanku here, sir. Sylvan cutting off the back of Stack, but the zone has been called, so probably a shift in the offensive formation from Wild Dogs incumbent.
Yanku almost with a rugby pass to Paul.
Mauro
With an
Borragero.
amazing little throw to Paul. Gets that to Rabina.
A lot of momentum for Anya by Wild Dogs as they trudge upfield. Paul Nasi calms the fuss down there.
That being a play that they practice.
Good grab by the ankles again by Lyndall Foss Price, one of the youngest members on the squad.
With the
She
break
finds Mauro.
for the score. They must be very happy about that one.
A lot of good things done by Mauro on that point, I think, but there's a call which has been resolved into a score. Wild Dogs take their first point of this half. Pull one back. 9-5.
Wild Dogs really gonna have to come down hard in this one to get this point quick if they want to stay in this game once half is called or once cap is called.
Yes, nothing is impossible, as they say, but might just be a little bit out of their reach. Hey, then again, we'll stick around to see what happens. The D line
Yanku with the disc again.
coming on for the Wild Dogs. Yes, a strong D line. Very agile, athletic men and women on this line, ready to put their bodies on the line for their team.
This being a line that could confuse most countries by speaking Afrikaans instead of English, with Yanku, Diandre, and Hanu being Afrikaans.
A linguistic weapon that South Africa possesses as the horn for the soft cap goes off.
I thought we were a bit too far away from the ocean. Nice pull by Yanku, with Kate unable to field that one. They're there straight away. Big throw to Nick. Nick through the middle to Mitch, back to Nick.
Hanu and Deandra look like the two chasers in the zone.
Nick just trying to put pressure, just enough pressure that he put on, causing that turn, wanting the stack. Yanku walking to the disc.
It's a big possession here for the Wild Dogs. They really need to capitalize on this as quickly as possible. As
Activates Hanu straight away. Nick makes the cutback, gets the easy swing. Far too many people cutting at once, but there's someone poached, not used.
Deandra comes back, but can't quite get the next swing. Nick not too impressed with himself there, but we know he'll be extra hungry to get this one back as quickly again. As Kate fakes deep, but just out of the reach of Nick. Anderson there. Marianne. Wide to Tina.
Tina with the disc to Mitch.
Looks like normal order's been resumed on defense and offensive structures here. Nick. Wide to Tina, to Neil.
Neil back to Mitch. Really just walking it through the zone, taking the holes when they get it.
Catch really in this driver's seat. Full on 120 on the highway as it's out of reach of John Ambler.
Seems like the man call may have confused Catch just a little bit to get that turn. Nick going deep.
Janku looks him off though. Swings one to Hanu.
Stewart climbing the ladder, getting that catch. 2 hands even.
A lot of work in the handler space here as Natasha Ferguson gets it upfield. Janku finds Hanu very poached in the midfield.
Hanu goes to Tash. Tash back to Hanu.
A lot of 1-2-3s, in fact, from the Wild Dogs as that pass is just wasted in the far left-hand corner of Catch's end zone.
Once again, Wild Dogs taking good options, just not executing it well enough.
So that final one just seems slightly out of reach of them all the time. As they resort to
fire called. Marianne just nicking that disc to Janku, who's very happy to take it from her.
Hanu trudging back to handler space, collects easily. A lot of time for him here as the stack is set, but no cuts are coming off.
Hanu with the throw to the side. There's a throw up to Nick. Nick just milking it, trying to get as much distance as possible. Stewart not clearing the space. DeAndre going there as well. Too many cuts as usual, it seems.
Yeah, either too many or none at all, unfortunately, for this Wild Dogs.
Janku with a great throw around. Easy catch for Nick for a score.
And that's exactly what they would have wanted, was Wild Dogs clawing their paws back into this one.
Just shows the difference what happens when they just start making their clinical cuts one at a time to the right space.
As a brilliant low release OI backhand finds Nick Anderson in the corner. Wild Dogs still not completely out of reach at 9-6, but will surely give all they got.
6 minutes left to this game with a hard cap at 90 minutes. Means that they're going to have to score points very quickly. Now is the time, if any, to really chase down that pool.
Yeah, if not the win they can grab, just some concluding joy to this game by perhaps getting one more at least. Call of wild card goes out from the Wild Dogs as their fabled TK line comes back into play. Saul Morris again leading this line.
Hopefully Sylvan can put a big pull up, just like Janku has been the whole game. Not the usual puller that this team has, but let's see what he has. Puts it up, not a bad pull. Not quite the height that he would have wanted.
Somewhere near the corner is Tina Schubert Field. Centers to Nate as catch send many deep. Nick Zalumis and Paul Kennedy underneath it. Paul takes it down.
Just putting it out into space.
Nick Zalumis lays out. And
tried his hardest to reel that one in. Kenny just putting it just too far out of his reach.
Again, maybe the Choburg, yeah. As we keep talking about it playing itself there. Stuart Rankin goes deep, but it's not seen by Sylvan Morris.
Sylvan there.
As Tina Schubert.
Nate gets the bookends for the game.
Finds Nate, yes, as Dylan said. And that's 10-6 to Catch. That is the game for Catch. A little bit of disappointment probably from the Wild Dogs, but such is ultimate.
Wild Dogs pulling it together at points, but unfortunately just making a few too many mistakes.
Yes, and that is us for this game. Thank you, Dylan, again, for being great company in this road we've had.
Thanks, Darren. Until we see each other again.
Reality.tv.